This is Sydney.
And I'm Sher. And each week we get together to share with you a message of hope.
It is through our own study and our personal experiences that we offer the reminder to not only seek the light,
but be the light. You can find peace, and there is hope.
And as long as one of us is slightly caffeinated, there will be laughter.
Today's episode is service.
And we're so glad you're here.
I'm forging my way through the tip top. I'm living my life through the drip drop when eternity.
Okay, Sydney, today we're going to talk about how service leads to happiness, which is exactly the topic that we had discussed that we're going to do today, correct?
Yeah. What is it like when someone does something that you always do to them? It's karma. This is a karma episode because we discussed a topic and you went in such a crazy opposite direction because I thought we were going to talk about other things and you just went off in your own little world and you made an outline and now here we are doing what your brain wants to do.
I know. I realized just before Sydney got here that I completely messed up. I did the wrong topic. I even had written at the top what we were doing and my outline does not match the topic at all.
And so I feel like you're doing this on purpose, that I do this all of the time, that you clearly say, let's do this, this, and this. And I clearly agree. And then I go a completely different direction and you have to come out into the ocean and you have to pull me back to shore all of the time. You're trying to do that today. You're like, oh, who has to go out in the ocean now? But guess what, Sher? I could play this game. We're both in the ocean today and I'm not afraid. I've already started. I looked up service on Urban Dictionary.
Oh, good. What does it say?
Oh, it's not good. Oh my gosh. Everything about service has to do with intimacy. This is the ocean we're in today, Sher. You've done this.
Why did my brain do this?
I don't know. This is the energy that you're getting now, though. Swim with me in this ocean. So everything in Urban Dictionary for service is very intimate. But when it says no service, you would think no intimacy, but no, it says that your cell phone's not working. I liked that. So there we go.
It's just concerning to me that we literally can have a topic and then I don't even know how I got here. I have no idea. I was trying to explain it to Sydney, but I can't because I don't know what I was doing.
Which is my daily life and everything I do. I'm like, how did I get here? Why did I go upstairs? Why did I go downstairs? Why am I doing this? I have no idea. Which kid am I supposed to pick up? Who knows? But I'll pick up someone's kid. I'm here. It's all the time like that.
I think that's why God gave me a stroke so that I could have empathy for you.
Now you're on the same page as someone who hasn't had a stroke. Great.
It worked out for both of us.
It did work out because I did think to myself when I looked at your outline that had nothing to do with what we talked about. I did see that you had several service quotes and I counted and then I thought at least I can come up with more quotes than you. And so I did find some. I'm not going to read all of them. I just want you to know that I have more than you.
I just can't even believe you didn't even text me and say, what is this? You didn't even question it.
I just roll with the punches. I'm like, you know what? Nothing ever makes sense. I don't ever know what's going on, but I'm going to make the most out of it.
Thank you, Sydney.
You bet. So obviously I turned to C.S. Lewis first, and he said, I do not believe one can settle how much we ought to give. I am afraid the only safe rule is to give more than we can spare.
I wasn't listening.
I know. Okay. When you plant a seed and it grows, this is the fruit. I have planted the seed of distraction and chaos, and I'm getting it back. This is the fruit of my work.
I'm listening now.
I'll try again.
Okay.
Sher, I started with C.S. Lewis for a quote, my many quotes, more than you quotes that I have. He says, I do not believe one can settle how much we ought to give. I am afraid the only safe rule is to give more than we can spare. I love C.S. Lewis. That's brilliant and kind of funny.
Why do you love that quote?
I love that quote because you're never going to be enough, Sher. So give everything you have and then more, and then enjoy hell.
The end.
Downhill into the ocean.
Well, let's try it. So
let's try your plan.
I was pondering since we started podcasting, one of the things that I've noticed that is always like the magic sauce, it's always the solution for all of the elements is to serve. If we want to be happy, serve. If we need more gratitude, serve. If you want to have more love in your life, serve. It just keeps going. Serve, serve, serve.
That's what I tell my family every single day. I'm like, if you guys want to be happy, serve me. I'm here to help you be happy. Serve me. And I'm only doing that because I care about your well-being. Serve me so you could be happy.
Has it worked for you?
No, not at all, which is too bad for them. They could be so much happier than they are. I know because I'm so happy and I'm serving them all the time. I'm like the giving tree over here. I'm just like, you want an apple? Have an apple. Want my limb? Take my limb.
Thank you. The happiness is just oozing out of you. All right. So what we learned over the last year is that by helping other people, you are actually helping yourself. Gandhi said, the best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others. An example of this is the Battle of Antietam. The Battle of Antietam was September 17th, 1862. This is a battle in the Civil War. And Sydney, to this day, the Battle of Antietam is the bloodiest single day in American military history. There has never been a day that more military soldiers have been lost than that day. There was around 23,000 casualties. Now remember, it was the Union and the Confederates because we were fighting each other. So combine them together. 23,000 were killed, wounded, or went missing in just that one day. That day, Clara Barton arrived on the battlefield and she had a wagon full of supplies. She had gathered these supplies by herself or through donations, and she brought them to the battlefield. While she was treating wounded soldiers, she noticed that there was a man that had been shot and was bleeding out. So she went to him to give him a drink of water to ease his suffering as he was going to pass away. As she was giving him a drink of water, this is what happened. I'm going to read her words. A bullet passed between my body and my right arm, shattering the cup from which I was giving the dying man a drink. He died instantly, and I at the time thought my number was up. So imagine that he's lying down and she's giving him a drink and it went between her body and her arm. That's crazy. Barton, though, didn't give up. She continued working that entire day and throughout the night. She provided bandages, food, and comfort to the wounded. And this is why she earned the nickname, the Angel of the Battlefield. She saved countless of lives that day. And this became her life mission, is this service to our soldiers. And this led to her establishing the American Red Cross in 1881.
What? I didn't know this. That's awesome.
Cool, huh?
What a good story.
So as I previously mentioned, we have learned throughout this whole entire podcasting adventure that service is like our magic sauce. And as I was thinking about service and our year of studying the pursuit of happiness, it made me ponder about our Savior, who is the ultimate example of happiness and service and love. Elder Jeffrey R. Holland said, life has its share of some fear and some failure. Sometimes our days are difficult and our nights are lonely. But the marvelous thing about the gospel is that we not only know that Jesus Christ came to earth, but we also know why he came. He came to heal the brokenhearted, to deliver the captives, to recover sight to the blind. He came to feed the hungry and clothe the naked and take in the stranger. He came to forgive and make whole. He came to help us. He came to save us. So I was thinking about this quote and the Bible in general. And when we read the stories of Jesus, it seems to me that's all he did every single day was serve. And he was also willing to give himself as the ultimate sacrifice to save us.
I like that because I was reflecting on the last few days of Christ's life. All he did was taught and served. He healed and he healed and he healed. That's how he spent his last days.
So it seems to me if Christ was doing that, even in his last moments when he knew what was coming, that maybe we should pay attention to that because that will really give us a clue of what truly makes us happy.
Service, it does lead to our own happiness. And I was thinking how it's such a seed for other people. A few of my favorite speakers, I love Tony Robbins and I love Les Brown. They are just really focused on service and on giving and becoming your best self. They're just powerful speakers, in my opinion. And I've noticed this week when I was listening to different interviews, they both had something happen that planted a seed of service in them. And it was very similar. Tony Robbins, his family was given a Thanksgiving meal because they were very poor. They had nothing. And then I also learned that Les Brown, on Christmas Day, someone brought his mother, who was a single mom who had adopted children. Someone from a local church brought a Christmas dinner for his family. And they both said the same thing. They both, from those instances, said, I want to be like that man. I want to serve the way they served. And I have reflected on how it is such a seed. And the same thing has happened to me in my life, that someone gave us a Christmas. And I remember thinking, whoever did this, I want to be like them. And so, yes, it brings us joy and happiness. And it puts in us a purpose. It's a seed that keeps growing and giving and giving and giving and regrowing and giving. And it creates such a beautiful way of life.
And it's a good addiction to have, really, because it makes you feel so good when you do serve. It makes your heart feel light and happy. That's why our Savior wants us to do this. President Nelson said, Jesus Christ is joy. His gospel is the good news that we can be happy, that joy is possible, and that true joy endures. True joy comes from focusing on Jesus Christ and his gospel. And that's it right there. If we can do that, if we can serve and follow Christ's example, we will have joy. This is how we can have that true and solid happiness that we talked about last week. So our Savior gave us everything he had in service, and he is the example of joy that never goes away. It's not a temporary joy. It's always there. And thankfully, we won't have to make the sacrifices our Savior did, but we are told to follow his example. And we do that by serving, by loving one another. And this will bring us the true and solid happiness. That's a happiness that is not temporary. It's lasting. In Mosiah chapter 2, verse 17, it says, when ye are in the service of your fellow beings, ye are only in the service of your God. So to show our love to God, he wants us to serve so that we can have enduring and lasting happiness. I was thinking of times when service opportunities have come up in my life. Somebody asked me to serve at church, or my family needs something, or friends need something, and I have a chance to serve and to help. And how many times I don't want to go, and I whine, and I'm like, oh, I don't want to go. And then I get there and you're with good people and there's a good feeling. When you're helping, it seems like the work is lighter and it's just more enjoyable. My heart is always so happy after. Maybe I should learn a lesson from that. My heart is happy because I'm following my Savior's example of love and service. That's what I can learn from those moments. Do you ever do that, Sydney?
Yes, I do that all the time. But also I was thinking, when you worded it that way, how many times I maybe don't let someone serve me, which is taking away those feelings for somebody. Ben and I have been talking about this as we're reading Jesus the Christ, and we talked about how Christ was washing the disciples' feet. And one of the disciples was like, you're not washing my feet, you're way above this. And he insisted, and then he allowed him to wash his feet. And Ben asked me about this because I was like, I'd still say, no, you're not washing my feet. I don't want anyone washing my feet. And he said, it's because you don't let anyone serve you. And that is very true to me. So this is actually tying together Ben's conversation with me and what you're saying to help me understand what Ben was trying to say. But heaven forbid I hear it from him and listen. So I'm glad you're saying it.
You're welcome, Ben.
He's used to this. But here's what I was thinking. I just reflected on several times in my life where someone has served me and how impactful it's been in my life. The youngest memory I have of someone serving our family was when my mother had a baby, and a woman from our neighborhood came over to see what needed to be done. And there was a lot that needed to be done in our house. And I remember Sharon sat me down with a load of laundry and she said, how about we fold this together? I just sat there and she said, Sid, can you help me? And I said, I don't know how to do this, actually. And Sharon taught me how to fold a shirt. I had never been taught how to fold a shirt before. And to this day, I fold my shirts the same way because she was completely free of any judgment and completely full of love and teaching and helping. And that shaped my life in so many ways. And I was thinking, since Iana, my daughter, just had her 9th birthday, I was in the hospital long term with her, and just how lucky we are to be where we are, where she's a sassy little 9-year-old and ready to take on the world, where some of the friends I made through Facebook groups, they didn't survive the same thing that we had. And this situation comes to my mind so clearly because I was forced to accept service from other people. And I think God has a way of helping us to accept service if we refuse it over and over. From my experience, specifically what came to mind was a fellow mom from a Facebook group found out that I had Iana early, and she brought to the hospital the prettiest clothes that were tiny. I didn't have any clothes for Iana. I hadn't even thought about getting clothes that tiny. And this person I had never met in my life packed up her kids, packed up everything, and she brought me this gift. And I thought it was such a beautiful thing to do, someone I had never met. And one of the outfits Iana wore the most, and we've kept it. And I see it sometimes when I'm loading memorable items up, and I think of her. And what I am gaining from this episode today is how, yes, service, we know we feel good when we serve. That's true. We have to also allow other people to serve because it's a cycle, and then we could all feel good and all be happy and all try to be more like Jesus.
There's a couple of things you said there that made me really think. The first one was allowing people to serve, because sometimes it is hard to accept that love and service from others. And I want to get back to that one. But the second thing is it made me realize that when we allow people to serve and follow the example of Jesus Christ, we're also feeling what it feels like to be served by Christ.
I love that you shared that, because imagine one of the blind men. What if he said, no, don't serve me, Christ? That would be ridiculous.
Right.
You're about to receive your sight. That would not happen. Someone would not have refused service from Jesus. So why do we refuse service from people who are trying to be like him?
Exactly. And this last year in my life, I've had so many people serve me, and I have felt that love from other people. And why would I not want to accept that into my life? There was a month there, at least a month, I don't know, because I can't remember, but you would remember, where I felt like I was being babysat all the time.
I think you were actually being babysat all the
time. I
time.
know I was. I mean, you were part of the babysitter rotation, so thank you for babysitting me, Sydney.
Nobody ever paid me. They lied.
But I appreciate the love that was shown by so many people to come and help me out when I couldn't help myself. I was forced to accept that help. Why would I not allow that when people want to help me when I'm feeling okay, or when things are going well and people just want to help? Why would I deny that feeling of love for both of us?
I don't know if anyone knows the exact answer of why we deny it, but I know there's a lot of people out there that feel the same, that we don't want to allow it. We want to do it on our own. We don't want to burden somebody else. We have this understanding that they have a lot going on too. So don't add my mess to your chaos, please. But we have to understand what it's doing for someone else when you do serve. And we have to accept it, which is such a horrible thing, but it's true.
It is true. So, Sydney, do you remember when we talked about Booker T. Washington? He was a slave. He wrote a book. He was very inspirational. He dedicated his life to education and empowering African Americans. And this man is going to tell us what helps us to gain happiness. He said, "Those who are the happiest are those who do the most for others." It's true. You do feel better when you serve. And on the flip side of it, when you allow people to serve you, you feel the same way. I have felt so much love from so many people this last little while in my life, as people have reached out to help me and take care of me in so many different ways. I sincerely felt Christ's love through them. I am eternally grateful for that.
I feel like it'd be the best time for me to share some more of the quotes that I found to have more than you. And so I'm now going to read to you a few quotes that I found that I really liked. "We make a living by what we get, but we make a life by what we give."
Ooh, that's good.
It's a Winston Churchill.
Love Winston Churchill.
"I don't know what your destiny will be, but one thing I do know, the only ones among you who will really be happy are those who have sought and found how to serve."
I really like that one. As you know, I teach the super naughty kids, and how many of them that would change their life if they would just do that. Because I see it even in these kids that have tried to shank people at school, and now I'm teaching them. If I tell them thank you for something they did, they always say you're welcome, and you can tell that they like it. Their whole life could change just through service. And that includes me on pointing the finger at me.
I love that. There was another quote, but I didn't copy and paste it, but it did say something along the lines of everybody served, how great the community would be.
It would be.
But it didn't make my list. So I'm glad you shared your own quote about that.
Welcome.
I only have one more by Buddha. I like this one a lot. "If you knew what I know about the power of giving, you would not let a single meal pass without sharing it in some way." It's powerful. I mean, if you're going to share your food, you're so close to living like Christ, in my opinion. I'll give you one of my Oreos out of my fanny pack. I have some milk in my back pocket.
Gross.
those were my quotes. That's what I wanted to share today in the ocean that you have trapped us in.
Well, you're welcome, Sydney. And anytime I can drag us both out into the ocean, just let me know.
It honestly was divine, I think, because it was a conversation Ben and I had this week about service and how bad I am at accepting service. I am so terrible about it.
Thank you for being generous and just kind of rolling with it, Sydney. And this brings us to our final thoughts. True and lasting happiness comes from service, love, and following the example of our Savior, Jesus Christ. Our Savior demonstrated that selfless service brings joy. Whether on the battlefield, in the community, or through personal sacrifice, those who serve others find deeper fulfillment and happiness. As we are taught, when ye are in the service of your fellow beings, ye are only in the service of your God. And in doing so, we discover that joy that comes from living a Christ-centered life that will lead us to a true and solid happiness.
We challenge you this week to actively seek someone to serve and allow someone to serve you.
This is our prayer.
From Sydney and Sher.
I'm forging my way through the tip top. I'm living my life through the drip drop. When eternity's plan, I just can't stop. I'm making my way through the drip drop.
You're never going to be enough, Sher. So give everything you have and then more. And then enjoy hell.
The end.
Orange is our color today. Everywhere.
And it's in my teeth, too.
It's in your teeth, on your feet.
So enjoy that.
Okay.
She worked that she hold on. I can do this.
Oh, I'm holding. I'm watching. This is exciting.
You're watching the train wreck. Don't talk.
I was just thinking you said don't talk, that you mean that because you changed the whole outline. Not gonna stop me. I'm gonna keep going.
I forgot the name of the book because I have brain fog right now.
That's okay. You're in a safe space.
Say it again because I cannot. I'm so sorry.
You've done good for not being here.
Have a great week.